Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. Sitting in the middle of my living room today. About 2 weeks ago, I got an email, maybe it's 3 weeks ago actually, I got an email from 7artisans. Now, as you guys know on this channel, I don't do a lot of like the shield tube product review stuff. I only really review things I'm always interested in. Most everything I get, I always purchase. The only thing I've ever reviewed before on this channel that I didn't purchase that was given to me was that small rig light. Well, this will be the second review that I've ever done on this channel where companies reached out and said, hey, you can do a totally unbiased, give your honest thoughts and feedback review. You get to keep the lens. Just, if you wouldn't mind, do you want to make a review for us? And I said, absolutely. Because, as you guys know, I have the Leica M10, I have the 50mm Summicron, and one of my next purchases for this Leica was going to be a 28 or a 35. I wasn't really sure. When I got the email from 7artisans, they had mentioned that they had a whole list of lenses they were coming out with. You've seen some reviews come out on other channels about these lenses already, but in particular, I was interested in this lens right here, which is the 35mm f2. And so they sent it to me, it showed up, and well, yeah, let's start with the boxing part of it. Okay, so the box. Inside the box, or the box that comes with it, looks like this. Let me turn down my exposure a little bit here. Looks like this. You can see, pretty nice box. It opens up kind of almost like a Leica box a little bit. For like, if you ever owned a Leica camera, they have these like magnetic clasps. So this has that, opens up like this. And inside of it was this right here. They have an actual, smells like real leather or some kind of leather pouch with for the lens, and you know, it looks really, really nice. You can strap this onto whatever, a bag or something like that. It looks really cool. And of course there was this right here, which is the little felt cloth that comes with it. When I first got it, I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. Now before I go any further on this, I gotta tell you a little backstory on my experience with like 7artisan or TT-Artisan, whatever lenses. And that's, but these lenses are like full of crazy character, whatever it might be, and they flare and stuff. And so that was my expectations coming in. And the reason why I paused to tell you that right now is because when I got this box, I was pleasantly surprised at how well they tried to do, or they did do, with this box and the metal flap and everything else. What also came with it was a tool to adjust any kind of rangefinder focusing issues. I'm happy to tell you that I had zero, so that's really good. And then they gave me this different, what's it called? Focus tab. This is a review unit. This is not a production unit, or not the one that you guys would get if you were to buy it. So I have a little bit smaller, I don't know if you guys can see this, a little bit smaller focus tab on here than I would like. And so they gave me a bit bigger one. So if you guys were to purchase this lens at some point, you would have the bigger focus tab on it. I'm glad to say that, like, they give you this whole pamphlet where you can go and adjust your rangefinder focus and whatever it is. I didn't need it at all. See you later. So that is what the box looks like. Overall, I was very impressed, so that's really, really cool. All right, now let's talk technical stuff. I don't tend to do this in my videos. I like to just shoot a lens and give you any feedback that I have and be honest about it. But let's talk quickly about some of the product parameters that they have, like the dimensions and specs. So you see right here that the lens is 57.5mm wide by 58mm tall. That's not much different or much bigger than like my 50mm Summicron, so that's really, really cool. You can see here that it has an aperture ring and it's clicky. It's not loud, but it does make a noise. It is a clicky aperture. The focus ring right here works really, really well. I thought the throw was really, really nice. It's a little bit more resistant than my Summicron. I think I like the Summicron's focus throw a little bit, but not a complaint by any means. It's just different. And of course, you have the depth of field scale, and then you have the mount. And again, this lens, like here, look at the back of this. You guys see this? This thing is not cheap. This thing is, it's heavy, it's metal, it's well weighted. Like the logo 35, you guys, this right here, this 35, it's not just painted on, it's actually engraved or embossed, if you will, down. So it's not just paint, it actually has texture to it. again, when I got this along with the box, I was super, super impressed that this lens came from 7artisans. They did a really, really good job with it. So, and again, I'm not just saying this because they gave me the lens for free. If it was terrible, I would tell you guys that this thing's terrible. It's not. The box, the boxing, the pouch, the lens material, the way it's made, the size, the weight, all thumbs up. I was really, really happy with that. In terms of like the lens, they said they modeled it after the 35mm f2 Summicron version 2, but if you look here, you can see it's 8 elements and 7 groups. I don't believe that the 35mm f2 Summicron has the same type of lens construction, so I think what they meant by that is that it's 6-bit coded to the 35mm Summicron version 2, which is, I think, true, because as soon as I put it on my M10, it went to 35mm frame lines, and that's what it shows up as in Capture One when I look at the EXIF data. You can see it's f2 to f22. Close focusing distance is 0.7 meters, which is pretty standard for Leica M cameras. The weight's 232 grams. It takes a 55mm filter thread. Again, overall, very, very happy with the way this lens looks, functions, and performs. I put the MTF charts up. This is what they sent me in terms of the lens construction and how the MTF chart is. You guys can see that. And hopefully you guys saw from the opening of this video that the lens is extremely sharp, actually. It doesn't have the same type of bite that maybe like that the Summicron that I have has, but it's very sharp. And again, the focusing was very accurate at my rangefinder. I found focusing with it very easy, and I was very impressed with it. The other thing that I noticed was, sorry about that. The other thing that I noticed was the bokeh. Like I said, typically in these 7artisan lenses, they're character lenses. They have a ton of crazy swirly cat's eye, just crazy speculative highlights. And it doesn't have this. It actually has a very smooth looking bokeh. You don't get like that swirliness that you see in some of the Zeiss lenses. Even my 50mm f2 Summicron opened up all the way wide at f2 has kind of a crazy circular bokeh. I like that, I really do. This lens does not have that, which was surprising to me. It was a very smooth looking bokeh. And the fall off was very smooth as well. Again, kind of signaling to me that this is not the same type of 7artisans lens that I've purchased in the past. Amazing packaging, amazing feeling lens, everything fits and functions perfectly out of the box on my Leica. Again, hopefully that doesn't vary from copy to copy when you purchase it. And then now we've got a sharp lens that has, you know, smooth, creamier bokeh. And so I thought that was really, really cool. You know, it has a built-in lens hood. I didn't mention that earlier. You see this? It's kind of built in right there. I've had this on my camera pretty solid for the last 2 weeks. And I gotta tell you guys, I, for one, like the 35mm focal length. I'm finding it easier to shoot that than my 50 actually. And I've had no complaints about what I'm getting out of this at all whatsoever. And so I went back to 7artisans and I said, hey, what's this thing gonna cost and when's it gonna be released? And what they told me was it was gonna be released on October 31st. So from today, I think today's the 27th? The 27th. So on October 31st, it'll be released and it's supposed to be retailing for $298. And that is the punchline. For $298, this is a no-brainer. And I don't even have an affiliate link. They haven't given me one. I'm not trying to sell this for my own profit. Candidly, I'm keeping this lens and I plan on using it. And if I was looking for a 35mm lens to go on my Leica, this would be a perfect option because it's $298. It's not cheap. It doesn't have that weird, goofy output that some like real cheap lenses have. Overall, it's a very solid performer. I'm impressed with it. I mean, Leica and Zeiss lenses, Siemens and Voigtlander lenses, they have their own characteristics and they're good. For $298, this thing is, I would shoot with this for sure. And then I do shoot, I will plan shooting on it. So it's a good lens. Now, you might be saying to yourself, well, Eric, well, you haven't shown me yet that there's not a ton of like imperfections in this lens. I don't do this a lot, but I did do it for the sake of this review. I took a picture of my brick, the side of my brick on my house. What you will see, I'll put the picture up now, is that there is some distortion, but it's not egregious. It's not out of control at all. and it leaves the center of the lens very, very sharp. I'm not going to be the guy that goes out to the corners and said, hey, this thing's not sharp at f2 and better at f4 and great at f8. I shot it most of the time between f2 and f8. What I did notice is that I shot this random picture I put up here through my out of my car. You can see it's very sharp at like I think it was f5.6 I shot this at. So I think stop down it does get sharper, but looking at the brick wall, the distortion is there, but it's not. It just doesn't offend me, really. The other thing that I typically look for when I shoot these kind of, I would say, more budget lenses is how bad is the purple fringing. And typically in the past, these things have been just horrific at it, and it's a pain about to fix and whatever. It wasn't bad at all. Two things here. I shot the corner of my truck mirror. It's got a chrome accent piece on it. This would typically cause purple fringing like nobody's business. There was none. And then I shot off the corner of my truck cab with the light directly in the lens. That would typically cause a whole bunch of stuff as well. You can tell the results aren't egregious. They're not bad. I don't know why that's my word today. I just thought overall that this lens performed really, really well for what it is. And I'm still shooting with it. It's been 2 weeks since I've had it. There hasn't been one time yet where I've like, oh my gosh, look how bad the flaring is, or look how bad the purple fringing is, or this thing's so distorted I would never want to. No, I've been impressed with it. And so I would tell you guys, I don't even know if I do get updates from the 7artisans company, that like an affiliate link or some kind of link to go buy, I will put it down below. At the time of this recording, I don't have it. So yeah, just guys, it's not bad at all. This thing's actually a really great option for 35mm f2 on a budget. And again, I haven't shot the Ultron, I haven't shot the Voigtlander ones, I haven't even shot the Summicron. But I can tell you from reviewing it in first looks, it's a really, really good option. So with that, guys, I appreciate you watching. Thank you. I'll see you guys in the next one. I have some videos to make about Leica in general, shooting portraits, all sorts of stuff. I want to talk about that, but to close this one out, keep this on your radar. I think October 31st is the release date. Maybe go check B&H, go check Amazon. This is the, again, 7artisans 35mm f2, and this is a new lens. This is not the same as the last ones. So yeah, it says right there, look at it, right there. You guys read this? Let me put the exposure down. Right there, it says 35mm f2, new, right there, new. See, that just proves to you, it's new. All right, guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.